Now if we're docking this way up at this docking point, as long as we don't have anything parked here, we would actually be okay to have the thrusters along the top here pointing backwards, because 1, 2, 3, 4, they will have enough clearance. Yeah, so actually yeah, because those flames, although they may shoot out sideways, they'd never shoot out backwards. I would be safe putting a block there, so I should be safe putting a block here as well. 1, 2, 1, 2, and we'll have an extra one going backwards, I think. Let's see how that looks now. So we'll have the backwards facing thrusters giving us our forward thrust. We'll have 5 there because that's where it's going to need the most power. And it's clear of everything, so that's fine. That's not going to cause any damage there. The inward facing thrusters will be far enough away from any walls or delicate equipment, so we're good there. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I think that'll work. I'm gonna do one last ring. I'm going to put the outside wall of the ship in place. And then we'll weld all of this up. It's actually easier to weld backwards, I find. If I'm at the right angle. Just square up a little. Okay. Right, let's get the good. Because that's going to need a lot of steel plates, and it's more than I want to do with my bare hands.
Meteor storm inbound.
saw that meteor flying past there in the background. There's another. I think that's all of these armour blocks welded up. Just make sure I haven't missed anything around there. There is one actually. Well, there's more than one. There's 6. Do you know, I'll admit this to you. I saw 2 lots of 3 and then I saw these ones up here and I thought that's 5, and I had a momentary panic as I thought to myself, what is 2 sets of 3 plus 5? And I wasn't confident I could get the right answer without thinking about it properly. My mental arithmetic is absolutely appalling. Now, if I look away from the screen and concentrate on adding up, doing sums in my head, I know that 2 sets of 3 is 6, and that if I add 5 to that, I get 11. And I can be pretty confident that I've got the right number. But the moment I am the slightest bit distracted, I can't do sums in my head. And anything more complicated than that, I'm not going to even attempt to do it in my head. And I'm an engineer. My degree involved quite a high level of maths. To study engineering, you have to have a very, very good grasp of mathematics, and you go into maths into quite some detail. I think probably other than doing a straight maths degree, it's probably one of the most mathematical subjects you can take. And yet I can't add up in my head. And I think that for anybody else who struggles with adding up in their head, take heart from that, because the ability to add up is not the same thing as the ability to do maths. And you might find that although you can't do sums, or maybe you find sums boring, or maybe you're just not very good at doing sums, that actually you might be really brilliant at maths. Mathematics is one of my strong points, but I can't add 2 lots of 3 and 5 in my head unless I concentrate. And as I say, maths is one of my strongest points. I'm just not really very good at sums. But maths, when you step outside of arithmetic, just the ability to add up, I mean, it's so boring. I was never any good at it at school. And just not the slightest bit interested in being able to add up. And we've got calculators for that. I don't go anywhere without a calculator. It's on my phone, and I don't go anywhere without my phone. I've no interest at all in being able to develop my ability to add things up in my head. But mathematics, when you look into the theories behind maths and you stop dealing with numbers and you start dealing with sort of higher levels of algebra and calculus, complex maths, it's so beautiful. It's really hard to explain the true beauty of real mathematics. So for anybody who's watching, who maybe you're still at school and you're no good at maths and you find it boring, that doesn't necessarily mean that real maths wouldn't interest you, or that real maths you might be really, really good at. It's just that you're no good with numbers. I'm no good with numbers. I am absolutely shockingly bad with numbers. It's but yeah, don't assume that that means that you couldn't be good at another form of maths. Well, I'm going to go and dock and get some more construction components. Go down here, there it is. Yeah, I heard an interesting critique of how maths is taught in school, which I completely agree with. There was somebody, I don't know, some professor somewhere, or someone involved in teaching or maths or something, described it. He said, if you wanted to teach students about art, you wouldn't start by teaching them how to paint a fence. And arithmetic is to mathematics what painting a fence is to fine art. And I thought there's such truth in that. Okay, let's put a little bit more in place here so I can see the outline quite clearly. This is where the wall's going to come. I might chamfer some of these corners. The ones on the outside. But we'll look at that as we're finishing up. Let's just step back and see how that looks. So that's defining the interior of our ship. So we're looking at the back end of the ship there, as though we were stood on the inside, looking backwards. And the ring around the outside is going to be our outside wall. And where we're stood now, if I go a little bit further forwards, this is almost a propulsion chamber. This will be an empty space, which is just a safe place for the thruster flames. So the thruster flames will be okay there, they're not going to damage anything. And that hole in the middle, we'll have that blocked up, so that as we're mining, all of the stray pebbles and boulders won't come inside the ship and rattle around. So let's see, we'll be looking at, let's just measure this up. So our thruster sticks out that far, and then the flame is going to be at least 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll give it an extra one just to be sure, and then we'll build from here. So everything backwards of that block is just empty space to contain the thruster flames. And forwards of this block will be everything else. So we're going to need inside here cargo containers, the reactor, the gyroscopes, everything, all the things are going to be forward of those two blocks, including our little driving seat. And then we'll put the driving seat as far forwards as we can, and then just forwards of that we'll have all the drills on the front. And the drills will be an array the size of this wall. So the drill is going to drill a hole big enough for this ship to fit inside of. So it's going to be quite a lot of drills. Should be quite good. I say we're gonna get so much material that a few runs with this ship and we'll never run out of material, and we'll be able to build such brilliant ships, and we'll be able to really pimp up the base as well. We'll have a fabulous looking base and some really good ships, and we'll be able to take on things like, we see that there's that military. Now that's not an escort, is it? What is it? A military... Can't tell. It ends with AYER. But it's got that antenna word in front of it, so I can't really tell what it says. But whatever it is, we'd be able to go and take it on and destroy it and take its cargo, whatever it's carrying. Because essentially that's what we are. We're pirates, and we're going to go pirating. And that up there is our future target.